Hi, it's Cara from Enchanted Vines, and today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful Easter wreath on an oval frame. So let's get going. So let's just clean up our wreath a little bit. Not everybody likes to do this. Personal preference as always. I like it just to be a little more polished. And if there were leaves in this, that's something that we would want to clean out. Leaves are already decomposing, so if we try and glue into something that's already, falling apart, it's got nothing to grip to. So we're going to be working on this side because we're doing a crescent wreath. So I would make sure that the side is especially cleaned out if there were. I'm going to take just one thick piece of the grapevine, and then I'm going to take my grapevine wire. I'm going to feed it through. Okay, and then just twist the ends. We're making a loop to hang this on. Okay, and then you just slide it down so you have the nice loop part up top. And then I like to just mark it with a bow. That way it kind of jumps out to your client where, ideally you had in mind for it to hang. All right, so we're gonna be starting off with ficus. And I think ficus maybe has become like my binky, but it just makes it easier for me to visualize how I'm going to build something out. So I'm just going to cut it into 4 pieces. All right, so you just take it, push the branches to the side, snip the 2 side ones at the base because they're the perfect height. And then this middle one's too long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to where there's only 2 branches left. I'm going to cut that. And then this little nubbin guy, I don't always use them, but I like to put them aside in case I can. Okay, so I'm going to use these to set the parameter for how far we're going to be building out. So I'm going to start at the top corner. And if you've seen other videos by me, this is pretty much like my general recipe that works really well for me. The more you do the same recipe over and over again, just the easier it is to do. So especially, if you have times where you need to restock, like you are doing consignment somewhere or you have a craft show coming up, it's great to have something that you can pull together in like, a half an hour or so. Sometimes those things aren't the most exciting, but you also want what's gonna sell. And just one more. So we have so many beautiful things from TCT Crafts that we're going to be using. Almost everything is from TCT Crafts. So I'm going to leave in the description the SKU numbers if you're interested. And if you use promo code CARA15, you have a savings of 15%. So just beautiful stuff. I want to show you this spray because it has so much in it. You can pull it apart, or you could take like 2 of these and do like mirrored, and your design is practically done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just pull these apart. This is gorgeous, and this is a great way, one, to save some money instead of, investing in like several different types of foliage. But also if you're somebody who is a little bit unsure about like color combinations and things like that, it's already done the work for you. So this is yellow based greenery. This is also yellow based greenery. But this has that nice chartreuse color that is just, it screams spring. Screams it, I say. So I want to put these in some prominent areas. So I'm just gonna be mirroring things as I go. And also make sure that you fluff things like this just to get the most, like the biggest bang for your buck. If you leave it flat, it's just not gonna take up a whole lot of space or visual interest. Okay, so just give it a nice bend. All of these products, they are wired, they're malleable, so don't worry about, you know, breaking them. I'm not a delicate creature, and wreath making is not a delicate process, in my opinion. All right. Love that. Need more of that. Okay. These are, they're like mini hydrangea, but they are called snowballs. Snowball sprays. So we have them in yellow, and I had already started clipping. And then we're also gonna have them in pink. So I'm just gonna go through real quick. All right, so we're gonna start by going in with our pink. Doing the muscle memory game, I'm gonna start up here. And I'm gonna leave this several inches off of the base. If you were designing for a storm door, everything needs to be really flush. Depending on like the age of the home, an older home could have as little as 3 inches in between the doors, and a newer home is still only like about 5 inches. So hopefully if somebody orders, they let you know that it's for a storm door. Otherwise they're gonna have a really smushed looking wreath. My mom actually puts one on her storm door and then one behind it on her regular door. And although it seems extra, they're my wreaths, so I'm fine with it. It's different. It's different when it's yours. And she's my neighbor, so I get to look at it. Okay, so we have all of our pink laid out, and now we're gonna go in with our yellow. And I'm gonna start right here this time. And I don't want things side by side. I want everything to look natural, so we're gonna have them kind of going in alternating angles. These look very real. They have like little, you know, almost like seeds, like the blooms that haven't bloomed yet. And then the foliage is really nice. It's soft too. Glue hairs. If your glue pot is like not just right, it's like Goldilocks. If it's too hot, then it smokes, and if it's too cool, then you see like an excess of glue hairs. So I'm just gonna turn her up a little bit. Okay, and then I have one more, and I'm gonna put it right here. It's nice to do things in a pattern because then it's like already telling you where to go next. So I usually start with the bigger blooms, which is what we did here. And now we're gonna go into some smaller pieces. You know I love me some hot pink. Let's see what this beautiful plant is. This is a pink and berry floral decor. All right, so same thing. I want to get the most out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this apart, or you can snip it, whatever works best for you and your hands. I was talking about how bow making like bothers my wrist sometimes, and one of my faves came back and said it's bothritis instead of arthritis. I'm like, I think that's real. I 100% agree. All right, so you want to just kind of do a count so that you're not going to like use everything up and then not have enough to make it balanced. So again, we're just going to spread these out. I am going to start on the corners again. I'm a creature of habit. Okay, and you can really bend these so that they are actually going like through your florals. That looks very natural to me. Like there's a lot you can do with these. There's a lot of movement to these. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to give this a little fluff. And now I'm going to hit the bottom corner. This color combo is amazing. Thank you, Melissa. Melissa has the best taste. Melissa, the owner of TCT Crafts, is an incredible designer. And she also is a supplier. Spread this out, and we're going to leave these on the edges. I always like to have something cascading, and so cascade away, my friend. Okay, then we're going to repeat. Just a little fluff, a little bend. All right, I moved you back just to make sure you can see. So now we're going to be using this hanging cottonwood greenery, and this is so beautiful. Honestly, I feel like you could like stick this in a pot and just be done. It's really, really nice. Great quality. It's got a little sheen to it, which when you go to a florist, they spray their greens so that they have a sheen as well. So it's still very natural. And let's see. I'm not sure I'm going to need all of this. Because I'm being a hoarder, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to take some of these longer pieces. I'm going to start by putting them towards the end. You kind of have them just hang down. This is where like manipulating your materials can make such like a world of difference, because it can take something from looking more, I don't want to say manufactured, but that's the word I want to use, as opposed to something that looks like really natural. So again, give it a bend. This has got all the goodies. Let me move this up. I also think it's kind of important to know, like when you hang something, when you are placing something, like this is on the inner part of the wreath versus like under here, just to keep that balance. And then we're going to go in with just some individual pieces and start filling in those gaps. Okay, we don't want to be able to see the grapevine on this section. We're going to go and use this as our filler bush. Yeah, greenery is like, it really can make or break designs, I think. Something can look so real, and then if the greenery is off, it just kind of, it can really take away from your overall design. right here. Let's see. And I also like to use greenery to just kind of separate flowers. Things grow in nature. That's the look we're going for. And Bruno agrees, or he's snoring, I don't know which. But I'm not going to ask him because he's being quiet. You can get a lot out of this one little greenery bush, as you can see. And then we have another greenery. It is an asparagus bush. Okay, so let's spread this out. This is a nice greenery because it's very, very airy. Once I separate it. I've never seen how asparagus grows. This is probably the closest I'll ever come to knowing what it looks like. All right, so spreading these out, making sure everything is separated, and then I'm gonna snip these. So I like to use a minimum of 3 different types of greenery. I think that, again, I find greenery to be important. I think it creates a lot of texture and it creates a lot of visual interest. And if you are looking at something manufactured, you'll often see like, that's kind of like the heart and soul that's like missing from it, is it just is flat. And we want some movement. So let's get going with this. This is like making me happy. Like these colors are actually making me happy. I know that the power of flowers in general like boosts our mood, but there's something about pink and yellow. Just makes me happy. Makes me wish spring were here right now, because we are in New Hampshire and we have a lot of snow still on the ground. So we just want to make sure that we're kind of putting this throughout our design. Back here too. All right, and then I'm just going to cut this piece up so it matches. Nothing's going to go to waste with this one. Yeah, for that cottonwood bush, I mean, I think I pretty much have like half left. I really didn't use the big pieces, and those can all be trimmed up and separated. Flip this, a smaller piece here. This is a very workable material. Bruno is still snoring. I think I feel the need to tell you so you don't think it's me. Gotta get ahead of that. All right. So nice. Okay, so now we are going to go in with these yellow allium. Allium is like one of my absolute favorite flowers, and every year I say I'm gonna plant some, and then every year at the end of the season I say, oh, I didn't plant them again. I forgot. Gardening is not my strong suit. I'm pretty sure that's why I'm so drawn to like permanent botanicals or artificial florals, whatever you want to call them, because I can't kill them. But if you're a plant, watch out. You are not safe if you're a living plant here. like in the orchid community. I've killed so many orchids. It's awful. It's supposed to be so easy. Drop it in an ice cube. There's nothing you can do to hurt it. Oh, it's a lie. All right, so let's start top corner, and you could break these down even more if you want. I like this little cluster corners. I'm gonna put this kind of far in because I wanna, again, like just spread this around. Okay, so like you really don't need to necessarily cut it into a bunch of pieces. Keep it as one and then just spread all the materials out. We're gonna repeat bottom corner. I love all the motion with this. This would be super, super cute in like a bumblebee wreath. This is giving me bumblebee feels. Bent the end of the stem. You want to make sure that you're going through the grapevine. Like there's very few things that I just have like kind of almost on the surface, but you always want to make sure that your stems are underneath some portion of the grapevine just to ensure that it's secure. Like I use Gorilla Glue, which I think is, well, for the glue pot actually I use Surebonder, which Surebonder is no joke. If you don't pull something like pretty quick, it is very hard to get out. And then for my glue gun, I use Gorilla Glue. And that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, got a couple pieces left. Bruno, I swear, if somebody leaves me a comment, you will be banned from recording with me. You know what? I think I'm gonna go, and yes, I am somebody who talks to their dog. I actually think it's weird if you don't talk to your dog, assuming you have a dog. There's so much to discuss. All right. Down here, and again, we're going towards the inside just to match / mirror. One's kind of going up, one's going over. And then I just have this little random piece. Okay, so this is just a little trick. I decided that I thought these flowers were a little bit too close to the grapevine, so I pulled out the yellow one, and then I broke this one, okay? I pulled the head off of it. I wasn't joking about the Surebonder. It was really hard to get out. But when you damage something, it is savable. So what you do is you take a floral pick, put it right up against the stem, and then you take some, I have glue all over my hands. I always have glue all over my hands. So you can just take some floral wire and wrap it around. I use 22 gauge typically. Okay, so I'm wrapping it around. And then I'm going to take floral tape and just do that extra little layer of security. So with this, you want to kind of, you want to be pulling on it tight, okay? Because it's not adhesive. It is like tacky. So you want to just go through and through till the wire is covered. Okay. So now I'm going to take this right in here. That's why I say this is, you want to enjoy your materials. You do not want to be worrying that you're going to break everything. It's not a fun way to design. And actually now I feel like this one's a little close too. All right, let's see. Shirt binder. Okay, that was not easy. That was not easy. But before I go any further, if something is like irking me, you want to pull it so you don't have to disrupt anything more than what you already are. Hey Bruno, hello. All right, oh guy. Don't want you covered in glue too. All right, so now to go full on Easter, I'm gonna add, these are just something that was in my stash, but I wanted to add a little bit of like purple and blue to it. Full on Easter colors. And it's gonna tie in with the ribbons that we're gonna be using. If you have like an animal or children, and I'm not saying those are the same things, it is wise to make sure that they can't tip over your glue pot. So I use a cord bundler, and I also keep things in between, like so, you know, the glass jar would have to break before he could move it, because that is like my worst fear, is that ever like falling on him. Or falling on me. High temp glue is the way to go because it is going to fight off, you know, like melting in the sun and then like making your materials like easier to fall out. But if you've been burned with high temp glue, you know it's like an instant blister. It's no joke. Dangers of wreath making. I love the pink and yellow combo, so this like, it could definitely do without this. I just had this in my head. So. In my head, it's going on the wreath. I'd love to know if you guys are designing with oval wreaths. I feel like I gravitate towards it for Easter just because it is egg-shaped, but I should use them more often. It's nice to have something a little different. Your wreath starts to get full. It's a little bit tricky to find an opening for your stems. Sprinkling these throughout. Making work for it there. step back. It's always important to take a step back because when you're really close to something, your perception just is not accurate. Like things could be unbalanced and there could be parts of the grapevine that are still exposed. So let me just take my own advice for a sec. Going back to this cottonwood bush, it is like the gift that keeps on giving. Now, this is what I consider the star of the show. Like, hello, nurse. These are so vibrant. I am obsessed with these. So let's see. I mean, obviously they're pink Easter eggs. So, yes, they come in blue, green, lavender, pink, or purple. I would definitely be going for these pink. I'm gonna break them up. Groups of 3. Perfect. So let's start top corner. So this is like where layers and layers of texture end up. Because you can still see everything, but there's a lot to process in what you're looking at. Sometimes when things are wired with paper, they just don't they don't go through like as easily as just metal. But you don't want to pull off all the paper because that's what's giving it a more natural look, the green paper. Go quick. Line this up. Okay, so we're gonna be using this sign on our wreath. Okay, I feel like this is like from Hobby Lobby or something. It was in my stash. And I tied a little bow on them just to give them a little pop. So we're gonna use our staple gun and I'm gonna use zip ties. You can also use chenille stems if you like. That works too. So I am going to, well, first I should line it up on our wreath. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it halfway down his body, and I like to do it twice. All right, so face down he goes, and these are 1/4-inch staples. Always wanna make sure you're not working with something that's so thin that it's gonna get cracked, or have the staple actually just go through it. Okay, here we go. And our bunny bow got smushed, but because we use wired ribbon, we're just gonna fluff it right back up. And he is like new. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we want him to be nestled in. So it might mean we need to move a few things around or just shift them a little bit. Okay, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my zip tie and I'm gonna feed it through. You could always just go all the way around. I like to hide the mechanics, so I'm gonna feed both parts of it through. And if you're not familiar with zip ties, which I just found out my husband doesn't know how to use zip ties. But anyways, I don't know how that happened. You're gonna take the flat part of the head and that's where the tail is fed through. So when you do it correctly, you get that ever so satisfying zip noise. Okay, I'm leaving this a little loose because I want to make sure that I have both in place. And if you do it and you don't hear that noise, that means that it's probably backwards. Now, brown zip ties, I think, are fantastic because you can't see them. And they hold things so securely. Wants to go its own way. All right. Let's see, I'm gonna start to zip this. And this is why it's good to have slack, because I need to adjust this placement. Make sure, like, I'm sure he's where I want him. And yes, he is. And if you have some slack like this, you just need to kind of shift your zip tie around back so that you can fully secure it. You do not want your sign falling off, or if it's not really secure, it's going to probably shift. All right, let's get to our bow making. We are gonna go with, this was in my stash, and then this 1.5 inch ribbon. They're both wired. So because this is going in the bottom corner, it's gonna be pretty simple. So we are going to take our ribbon. I'm gonna leave some long tails on it. It's probably, I don't know, like 12 inches. I'm gonna measure out 6 inches. So you always want to make sure that the front, or like the pretty side of the ribbon, is facing down. And when you bring it through the dowels, you want to make sure that you're fully twisting it. This is what gives you like those nice crisp bows, and it also makes it so the center isn't like super thick. I'm measuring 6 inches. And you know, you can do different things with the ribbon because it kind of like flops all over the place. You know, some people have like a basket and they just drop it on the floor, which is definitely the easiest. Some, like the Deluxe Easy Bow Maker, has a dowel just for the ribbon. I've heard paper towel holders, which I got one. I don't know why I don't use it or try it. All right, so we're doing 4 loops, 6 inches each. Cut it so the tail matches. Now I'm just gonna go in and make one loop with the pink, nice long tail. And I'm going to measure 6 inches, get through, and then cut. Take the purple. And I'm going to go the opposite way. Normally I always start this way, but for this, I want the tails to be on this side. So feed it through, measure the 6 inches. All right, now we take a prayer break because we're going to be getting this off the dowel. Now this one should be easy. Sometimes when they're really thick, I get nervous. I'm going to let them go. Okay, I'm just going to spread out my loops a little bit. And I'm going to take this off the dowel, holding it between pretty much my pointer finger and my thumb. Okay, I like using a zip tie because I feel like it's just easier. Oops. Imagine if I punched myself in the face right there. I feel like it's a little easier to manage with one hand. But you can also use like a chenille stem. You can use floral wire, any of that stuff. Okay. So I'm going to snip off our zip tie tail. And now I'm just going to finish these tails. So with thicker ribbon, this is 2.5 inch. I like to dovetail. So I'm going to fold it in half and cutting up at an angle, cutting this little part out. If you do it and it actually looks like this instead, it just means you did it backwards. Not a big deal. Just do it over. And then for smaller ones, I usually like to just cut them at an angle. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, so I'm gonna fluff these up a little. You're gonna see where it's gonna go, so it doesn't really need all that much fluffing. All right, now I'm gonna take a piece of floral wire because I'm gonna put this on a pick. So I'm grabbing a floral pick. Okay, so right where I had the zip tie in the middle, I'm gonna lay the wire right over it. Okay, I'm gonna twist it in the back. Nice and snug. Now I'm gonna just attach it to my floral pick. So basically, you're gonna wind this around until all the wire's gone and it's just nice and secure. Okay, now let's go back to our wreath. Sometimes the bow is like the star of the show. This one is more of a supporting actress. So I'm gonna put right in this bottom corner. Okay, and just all the bows, all the loops are facing downward. Nice pretty tails, and all the tails are facing forward. I hope you enjoyed this Easter wreath tutorial. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share, and I look forward to designing with you in the future.